Hi everyone, Diane here. Today I'm going to paint this little landscape, which is just this sort of whimsical little thing. And so I'm going to be using my little dishes, which I haven't used for a while, because why not? And what I've got in these, I have a whole pile of them. Some of them I keep in a basket like this, some of them I keep in a tub. What I do is I just remember what they are, and then I get them out when I want to put together a palette, and I arrange them like this. And as you know, I tend to have what you might call a limited palette. I choose colours that go together, going to work for what I need, and I don't have odd ones lying around to distract me. So here we have burnt sienna and yellow ochre, ultramarine. This is a phthalo green, I think, Alizarin Crimson, cadmium yellow light, and olive green, and I've also got a bit of black there. And I'm going to have a go at painting these, this little scene. And I did it earlier, and it looked a bit like this. And I've just changed it slightly. So I've got a piece of watercolor paper here, and I'm going to try it on watercolor paper. This was just sketch paper, so it's smooth and it has that look about it of being quite smooth, and I also did line work on it. The sketch will be available on the website. This is the sketch from that one I just showed you, so if you want to download that, you'll be able to do that. I don't know whether I'll put the sketch up of this. I don't know if it's going to work yet. So anyway, I've got my Meeden mixing palette there, although I might not need it much, but it depends. I'm going to pick up some Ultramarine Blue, and I'm just going to paint that into the sky. Not too dark. You don't want it to be too dark. Not too light either, so just so there's a little bit of blue behind those leaves, which we'll put on when everything's nice and dry. And then we want some hills, so we'll go for some olive green, and I'm just going to keep it really nice and simple. Doesn't matter if it blurs a little bit as it goes up towards the sky. But we'll just kind of wash that down, drag that down with the brush, letting it sort of blend nicely into the foreground, or nearer ground, midground really. And I've painted round the sheep, so they'll stay nice and white. And then we'll make the hill that's a little bit further away a little bit darker. So that's the same colour. If we add a little bit of black, we can make it into not too much, make it into slightly darker green. There are some artists who don't believe in using black or white. They make their own lives more difficult that way. I used to do that. I don't anymore. We're going to have some bushes along the line of here where they've got a fence or something, so we'll just put some green there a little bit. And then I'm going to take some yellow and mix it with a little bit of this green to do the grass. We make that quite yellowish. Perhaps we put a little bit of yellow ochre in there too. So we'll bring that down in front of the house, behind the hedgehog, around the pots, around the birdie birds. This is quite a nice brush, this. This is the Princeton Aqua Elite, which is, we'll just add a little bit more of this green just to sharpen that up a little bit for the foreground. It's got a nice point to it, actually. Nothing wrong with that. And the thing is to vary your colours. So with your greens, don't make it all the same flat colour. vary them. Doesn't matter what they are, just as long as they're not all the same. So you've got your olive green, you've got your phthalo green, and then your yellow. You can use either the cadmium, or for a more natural look, you might want to go for the yellow ochre. A little bit more yellow ochre perhaps in the background there. Paint round the flowers a little bit. This is your first layer, so you can always come in afterwards with another little bit of paint to darken things up a bit. It doesn't matter if you accidentally paint over the hedgehog a bit. But I was saying it's got a nice point, this brush, so you can basically get into all the nooks and crannies. Remember don't smooth the paint out completely. Don't think of it like you're painting a wall in your house. You're not. Would you like, if you want to paint a wall, you can come and paint mine. If you want to come to my house and paint my house, my goodness me, it does need painting. Right, so that's all green now. Put a little bit more in that hedge, I think. There's a tree here. If that's dry, nearly, very nearly, so maybe what we'll do is we'll just come in with a hairdryer. So that's dry. Now, what colour shall I do the roof of the house? I suppose it should be a sort of brownish, greyish kind of colour, shouldn't it? So let's mix a bit of raw burnt sienna with some black to give us a darker brown. And then I don't know what colour we're going to do the walls. Grey or something like that. That would be a bit boring, wouldn't it? I don't know. Let's just paint them a light brown colour, and we'll do the interesting part with some pen work later. And since I've got this light brown colour, I'm just going to do the front half of the hedgehogs because they are quite pale. I know that because we had a hedgehog the other day, didn't we? And then we can probably put a little bit of grey into the sheep there. Then let's have a look at the tree. So what we need to do here is just mix up some different greens and sort of drop them in, with leaving lots of gaps for the proverbial birds to fly through. And then as you come down a little bit, you're going to make it a little bit darker. So that it sort of stands out a bit. And I think we'll do the branches and everything with pen. I'm going to make this a bit of a pen and ink. So just keep that a little bit varied, not too solid. Now what's next? Let's put some brown for the hedgehog, shall we? Again, darkish brown. Again, what we're going to do will be to do the spiny bits with the pen. You can paint a hedgehog with only brush strokes, but not easy. So we'll make it a little bit easier for ourselves and add the spines with ink, I think. There we are. And then this colour again for these pots here, which are some nice terracotta pots. shadow on the inside. Okay, so we will want some leaves up here. Coming in from off stage, so to speak. And we'll have to join those up with some pen probably. Then we've got blackbirds sitting here, so we will be wanting to make them black. I put the legs in using pen again. And of course they have bright yellow beaks, so maybe we'll use brush pen for that. Okay, those are 3 birds. Now what? Oh yes, we've got some nice leaves on the ground here too. We're not going to paint them too accurately. Some of them are going to be sort of brownish. I know it's not autumn at the moment, but it will be sooner or later. And then perhaps just this poor red is sitting here all forlorn. We'll just pop a little bit of red in there. I don't know what kind of flowers those are, but and a couple more down here as well with some leaves. Keep it fairly free. Should make these ones a little bit more orangey, pinkish kind of colour. Okay, so I think now we need to let that dry and then we'll come in with some ink. You do have a choice, really. You don't absolutely have to do this with a pen. You could do a lot of the details with a brush. You could do that. I quite like the whole ink, pen and ink thing myself. So I think that's probably what I'll do. It gives a different look. Definitely gives a different look. You can get some nice darks using the pen if you want to. And this is a Tombow, and it has a thick and a thin nib. So you can press hard and you get a thick line, and you press lighter. You see it's nice and dark there, and you can get some very easy and quite, what's the word? expressive, that's the word, quite expressive marks without really trying, to be honest. You don't have to try terribly hard to get what you might call, you've got a step there, you see that step just grew outside the house and there's a path coming down here. And obviously you have a bit of a broken down old fence along the side there. And one bird there. Let me see, what shall we do next? Shall we do the tree? We're just going to really lightly sketch in the branches on this tree. We don't need anything terribly complex. So into the spaces, we'll just drop some little branches. Not too many, because if you do too many, it looks odd. So we just really have to be very restrained. Very restrained. That's all I'm going to do. Over here we have some sheep, and I don't want to do them too dark either, so we'll just give a little bit of an indication of their legs and their bodies, just because they're in the distance. They don't want to be too dark, do they? My hedgehogs, I'm going to start with, start with their noses, and then their smiles, and their eyes and their ears. And then we come down the front and they've got their little feet. I didn't realise how big hedgehogs' legs were until we had a hedgehog that we rescued the other day, and turns out they've got remarkably strong, long legs, and they can climb, and they can escape through tiny holes in their cage. Yes, they can. And they did. I hope he's okay. I hope Hedgar was successful in his bid for freedom. Right, so another nose here, and then a nice little curve to the forehead. All the best hedgehogs have got curvy foreheads. And then just light strokes. Give him an eye and an ear. Light strokes to indicate. It's a perfect pen for this. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Just give the little slightest indication of the feet. We don't need every detail, because to be quite honest, you couldn't see every detail even if he was sitting right in front of you, believe it or not. We had the hedgehog in the house for, not in the house, in the barn for quite a while, and most of the time he was curled up in a little ball, impenetrable ball. That's the hedge going along the back there. And then we'll just scoot in some floral elements here. Just nice and loose. And then a few more down here. Hope I'm not saying too often today. I had another complaint about my ums. It's too bad. Sorry. It's just one of those things. And anyone who thinks I say too often should try doing what we do. That's all I can say. So there we are. Here is another bird coming along here. And this one, they do have yellow beaks, but I'm not going to See, this one is a little bit more accurate because he's a little bit closer. Always remember that the legs of a bird are not vertical. They sit like that at an angle. And here we have our leaves and bits and pieces in the foreground, just for the heck of it. A little bit of shadow underneath the hedgehog there. And here, perhaps, just a tad. And what else? What else? What else? What have I forgotten? I think that's probably okay. Tree is a bit on the sketchy side. We put a little bit of grass at the bottom of the tree just to embed it into the landscape. And I think that's probably good enough. You could do all sorts of other things. You could put a wood pile here. You could have something growing there. Maybe we want a little bit of green there, perhaps. Excuse me. Yeah, that'll do. So there we are. One little landscape, 2 hedgehogs, 3 birds, 2 sheep, some flowers, a house, a tree, a sky. And we can rub out these lines here once it's completely dry. So, hope you enjoyed that little quick one. You can get the sketch free of charge from our website if you pop over to dianeantone.com and follow the instructions, and it's as quick as boiled asparagus. So I'll let you go. Have a lovely afternoon, and I'll see you again soon. Bye everybody. Bye bye.